Hey everybody, welcome to the Curzio Research YouTube channel. Welcome to Creech's Corner. I'm Daniel Creech, research analyst here at Curzio Research, and today I'm going to be talking more about Galaxy Digital Holdings. BRPHF is the holding, or the ticker, excuse me. And I've done some previous YouTube videos on this. Please check those out. In fact, I told you I wanted you to buy this before March 31st. So if you look at this chart here on CNBC, March 31st, if you bought it any time before that during my last video, you were down until just recently. As you can see, Galaxy Digital is around 1486. And you're probably thinking, I'm an idiot. I have egg on my face. Humble pie served to me. Yes, I understand it completely. Love me, hate me, don't ignore me. Daniel at CurzioResearch.com. That's Daniel at CurzioResearch.com. A lot has happened since my last video, so I want to update you on why, despite the pullback in in Galaxy Digital shares, which I'll address, it's not a time to go all in on this stock. However, I want to say I am more bullish than I've ever been. I've continued to add to my position and will, and let's get into that right now. Now, to recap quickly here, Galaxy Digital is, in my opinion, a great way for investors to get exposure to the crypto markets because it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, in my opinion. It gives you a lot of optionality. There's a lot of ways to win from an investor standpoint as crypto, if you believe Bitcoin and crypto will grow into a global financial system like I do. So Galaxy's broken up between three different segments. You have the global markets, which is trading and everything from cryptos to lending to other traders and businesses' books, derivatives in crypto markets and all kinds of different trading, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Think options, derivatives, all the back end kind of stuff. Advisory services, they charge and earn fees to help mergers, acquisitions, all kinds of things. Then you have asset management business that's broken up between active and passive. So active is when you have a manager buying and selling, constantly overlooking your book of investments. Passive is like an ETF that buys the market. You just kind of set it and forget it type deal. But they have partnered with Invesco. And the nice thing about that is as you create these active and passive ETFs or platforms, products, they generate fees, and that all flows back to Galaxy. Now, they're not earth-shattering right now, but it's an accumulation of assets and a gathering of assets as this story continues to unfold and grow. In the asset management business, they also do venture investing. So Galaxy has a whole wing devoted to startups, and think of like a private equity in terms of this, because in the future, say in a few years from now, you can see Galaxy starting to spin off or realize some of these gains. Most of these venture capitalists, as all venture capitalists or startups, fail, so the odds are directly against them. However, when you have such a large, vast reach, you can really take advantage of opportunities and such. And then their third segment is the digital infrastructure solutions. This was where they were doing and focusing on Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin mining hosting. So they were mining for Bitcoin themselves, plus helping others through providing either capital or hardware and products, miners and such. But my big thesis, and one of my reasons I told you to be buying the stock before the 31st, was because they are transitioning that data center mining for Bitcoin to a high-performance computing, a HPC data center, and they have recently announced a major announcement with that. And we'll get into that in just a moment. So that's quickly the recap. This is about a $2 billion U.S. company, give or take. Again, right now it's trading BRPHF as the symbol, and that's over the counter on the pink sheets in the U.S. Now, one more highlight here, Galaxy Digital. So this 800 megawatts of total approved capacity at Galaxy's data center campus, the Helios in West Texas, that's major news. We'll get to that in just a moment. They have about $10 billion on their platform across all assets under management, capital invested, et cetera. Over 1,300 trading counterparties. The takeaway and excitement there is that you want that number to continue growing. You want to see more players come into this game, institution, hedge funds, family offices, sovereign wealth funds, governments, et cetera. The big players with the big money go to those who know the industry best, the most connected guys. Nothing illegal about that, just the way it is, and that is Galaxy. And then their average loan book size continues to grow. You just want to see growth there. Now, since my last update, which I said, hey, buy this before the 31st. So on the 28th, Galaxy came out and announced the fourth quarter results. And they came out swinging because the very first thing that they talk about outside of their financial highlights now is the Helios data center deal with CoreWeave. And CoreWeave is a big deal because it provides NVIDIA's biggest and best chips. It's got a great partnership with NVIDIA, and it's going to scale data centers at an unbelievable pace for NVIDIA's clients. So the exciting thing here is, as you can see in this paragraph, Galaxy announced a 15-year lease agreement with CoreWeave valued at about $4.5 billion in total revenue. That's incredible. Give or take $300 million. It's not going to be smooth, exactly as smooth as that, to where they just start getting $300 million this year for 15 years. There are risks here. You have to build out. You have to stay on schedule. You have to stay on cost. There's a lot of funds to be raised here, a lot of parts to be worked out. But the big takeaway is that they signed a long-term deal for a huge portion of their power, 133 megawatts, give or take, over a period of time. Now, this was on March 28th with their earnings. Now, my big two catalysts were the company is Galaxy is going to be approved to trade in the U.S. on a U.S. exchange and not over the counter. More on that in a moment. And then they would get this next level, or they would get some kind of a contract to show that their transition from from Bitcoin mining to data centers is taking shape. This is a huge deal. Now, what's wild here is that on the 28th, you have the 31st here. Galaxy, if you look at the chart here, Galaxy drifted lower into earnings, and yeah, it popped, but then it sold immediately off after that. Now, I know that this is easy to say and not live out, but when you have a situation where the market is selling off for macro news, and you kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater, that's when you really have to understand what you own and why you own. Because when the market's pulling back, unrelated to your company's specific situation, that's when you want to either look to reevaluate or buy, or at least, build a plan. And so that's how you want to approach that or look at that, in my opinion, because it is tough and money is emotional, and it sucks to see a company come out with solid earnings, a catalyst or a thesis playing out as you were hoping so or thinking so, and yet the stock go in the exact opposite direction you expect. But that's the way it is, and it's shorter term. You can see stocks, or the price of Galaxy here has rebounded. I'm not saying we're out of the woods yet. I'm simply saying that that's how I want you guys to think about how to manage when you're disconnect between the price of the stock and the overall value you believe that it could unplay or tap into over the next, months or whatever. Now, quickly here on a couple more things. So not only was the Helios announcement amazing and overshadowed, but their net income actually surprised me. And these earnings will be lumpy, but overall, this was very solid to see them. And granted, crypto rallied into the end of the year, but this is solid to see Galaxy realize a net income gain of over $100 million. They also settled with the New York Attorney General, which was $166 million, for, KYC. They basically just settled, in my opinion, to clear the path in order to get approved for the listing of the U.S. exchange. And let's go back to the news feed. So the 28th, they announced a huge deal with CoreWeave and great earnings, wrapping up the full year 2024. Then on April 7th, this was the big catalyst that I've been waiting for. In fact, I've been waiting a couple years for this, as I explained in my other video, and I was dead Florida wrong on the timeline. And the learning lesson here is when you see that your catalyst or your reason for buying a stock has been stopped, you want to step away and wait for that catalyst to reappear. In this case, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, was hell-bent on attacking crypto. I did not see that early enough. I ranted and vented about it, but that's not enough. I should have stepped away, and I should have kind of understood that environment much, much more. But we want to learn from that and go on. And I'll touch base on that in just a moment. But on April 7th, Galaxy announced that they are going to hold a special meeting for shareholders on this upcoming May 9th, and they are going to reorganize and move to the U.S. for a listing. Now, if all goes well, and it should, all but basically dotting the I's and crossing the T's here. So they're going to have a meeting, and on May 9th or just after, you should see Galaxy trade on the U.S. exchange on the Nasdaq. Why is this important? This is a monumental shift because when you trade on the U.S. in the U.S. on the U.S. exchanges, it's the greatest, biggest, baddest platform for finances. The most money flows in and out of these exchanges, and a rising tide lifts all boats. Now, whenever you see a ticker or a headline or anything like that related to crypto, typically you'll see crypto prices are up or crypto's down or Trump tweeted this or Trump tweeted that or whatever about crypto. And then you'll see typically 4, 5, 6, 7 like tickers or company-related stocks that could be influenced. And right now, you don't ever see Galaxy when the U.S. is talking about, you see Mara, you see Coinbase, you see Robinhood, you see Hut Mining, you see different stocks related to those, and for good reasons. But Galaxy, being able to break into that, anybody who has exposure on the U.S. exchanges that wants exposure to crypto can now, coming May 9th or just after, allocate money towards Galaxy. And this is absolutely huge. I expect, I don't want to get over my skis here, but I don't understand how this isn't incredibly bullish for Galaxy and the space, given what we have going on right now. Again, don't go all in. However, I wanted you to at least start a position before the 31st. That should be positive right now. Continue to hold. I'm going to keep buying more shares and add to my position because I want to get a full position. Once it starts trading, that's when the exciting fireworks happen, in my opinion, once it starts trading on the Nasdaq, because no doubt it will be volatile, but it'll have more opportunity for all kinds of wealth to flow into the space. And that is a huge deal. Now, if that wasn't good enough, cue your favorite infomercial. But wait, there's more, okay? Because after announcing solid fourth quarter, wrapping up 2024 earnings results, after explaining they got the listing in the U.S., and that's going to take place on or May 9th or just thereafter. Then on April 23rd, Galaxy came out and announced another positive catalyst and some more positive news. And the fact that CoreWeave, who they signed the big 15-year, $4.5 billion deal with, has already taken additional high-performance computing infrastructure from Helios. And the way these are typically structured here, so when you go into a multi-year agreement like this, and I'm no expert, I'm paraphrasing here just for conversation. When you go into a long-term deal like this, you have checkpoints and things to where you can up your share, or you can, typically you can reinvest, or you can change. You have the optionality to kind of change, leverage, do different things along the way. And the real takeaway here is, in a very short time, Galaxy has come out and said, listen, CoreWeave has exercised its first option, so first option meaning there's multiple, to access additional critical IT and load for CoreWeave's artificial intelligence, high-performance computing operations at Galaxy Helios Data Center. They don't get into a whole lot of details as far as price or money-wise, but they do say that under this phase 2, Galaxy now agreed to deliver approximately 260 megawatts of incremental critical IT load. They still have the 800 in total, 800 megawatts, as you can see down here. However, that's not all available right now. So again, there are risks to this story. This is an exciting story in my opinion, but you have to see you have to see how this plays out. They need to raise capital. They're already doing a lot in terms of construction and infrastructure right now. This project is already underway, but setbacks happen, weather happens, execution happens. I don't want to paint the picture that there's no risk here. I'm simply saying I think the risk reward is in the individual investor's favor here, and which is why I am so bullish on this name. Okay, so recap here quickly. We have Galaxy. I have egg on my face because I said, hey, buy before the 31st, and then it even continued to fall even lower. Now, if you followed my first YouTube video, you should be flat or about up on this. But again, I want to reiterate my two main catalysts that I was excited about, getting it approved for the U.S. listing and then signing a deal for a hyperscaler on their data center, transitioning from Bitcoin mining, is now underway. and it got overshadowed by the macro nervousness of tariffs and trade wars, and crypto briefly dipped under 80,000. Crypto, I mean Bitcoin, excuse me, lowered or caused the whole entire industry to fall. That, in my opinion, has been an opportunity. And that's why I continue to allocate capital here towards Galaxy, because if you believe that Bitcoin is going to continue to grow in adoption, so more people will continue to flow, put money into it, and the entire ecosystem will continue to evolve and play a larger part in global finance, as I do, I think this is a no-brainer for you. I easily think this is a several 100% winner. We'll see what happens. I don't want to get over my skis, but we have a lot of momentum. So if you didn't buy this stock and you want exposure to a fantastic name in the crypto industry, please buy Galaxy Digital. The next timeline here, I'll look to update you guys after May 9th because I want to see how the trading takes place the first few days afterwards. But couldn't be more bullish on this right now. Yes, there are macro risk, as there always are. Keep your position sizing normal. Follow your stop losses. Have a plan. Look at my other videos on YouTube, please. But have a plan before you buy or sell anything. You are smart enough. Nobody cares more about your finances than you, and that's the way it should be, and that's the way it is. Love me, hate me, don't ignore me. Daniel at CurzioResearch.com. Like us, share us, help us grow the network. Daniel at CurzioResearch.com. Until next time. Put some Galaxy Digital in your stock portfolio, and let's see where this takes us. Have a great day. Cheers.